Welcome to this episode of the Sports Detective Podcast Show. My name is James Williams, and today, do the Vikings have a J.J. McCarthy problem? What are we talking about? Well, as you guys know, J.J. McCarthy is 6 starts into his NFL career, and things have not gone as planned. They're currently 2-4 when he is the starting quarterback. And I saw a graphic actually last week, and it was comparing J.J. McCarthy's first 5 starts and comparing that to Josh Allen's first 5 starts. And they were looking at touchdown interception ratio, completion percentage, passer rating, and they were both very similar between Allen and McCarthy. And I don't think that person was trying to say, okay, because Josh Allen sucked in his first 5 starts and J.J. McCarthy also sucked in his first 5 starts, that J.J. McCarthy one day will become Josh Allen. But I think maybe the point that they were trying to make was, hey, just because you have a rocky start to your career doesn't mean that the Vikings should give up on him and that they should move on immediately, because he is very, very early into his young career, right? I usually agree with that sentiment. I think players will get better. I think coaches are capable of getting better. I think all of us in life, the more you do something, the more you work at something, the more experience you have doing something, whether that be cooking or mowing the lawn, you will probably eventually get better at it over time, right? Well, with that being said, after the Minnesota Vikings got absolutely mollywopped by the Green Bay Packers yesterday on Sunday, a lot of people were posting stats of J.J. McCarthy, and they were doing other player comparisons for J.J. McCarthy's first 6 starts. And these are the type of players that if you're a fan base and you're seeing your first-round pick quarterback being compared to them, it's got to be incredibly upsetting. So I'll go ahead now and I will share with you guys a bunch of different posts that I bookmarked yesterday. Just how bad J.J. McCarthy has been and where that ranks with other quarterbacks in the NFL history this century. So this one here from the Purple Persuasion. J.J. McCarthy, through his first 6 starts, looks a lot like other Minnesota Viking quarterback bust Christian Ponder. Ponder was 1-5, 56% completion percentage, 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 21 sacks. J.J. McCarthy has one more win, slightly lower completion percentage, 500 less yards, less touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 20 sacks. He does have 2 rushing touchdowns, but being compared to Christian Ponder is not something that Vikings fans were expecting heading into this year. J.J. McCarthy joins Blake Bortles, Deshaun Kaiser, and Zach Mettenberger as the only quarterbacks to throw an interception in their first 6 starts. Yikes. On top of that, since 2010, only 3 first-round quarterbacks have had a passer rating under 65 in their first 6 starts. J.J. McCarthy, who is the worst, Blaine Gabbert, and Zach Wilson. Wow. Tough. So this one's from Danny Heifetz of The Ringer. And I have some more stats from their show, too, that I'll share with you guys in a little bit. J.J. McCarthy now ranks 851st out of 852 in EPA per dropback among qualified quarterbacks since 2000 per True Media. The only player below McCarthy is Jamarcus Russell. If you isolate it to third down, McCarthy is dead last. Again, think about all of the quarterbacks that have played, all 851 quarterbacks. There's teams that did not win games. There was teams that were trying to intentionally tank. And J.J. McCarthy is playing worse than a lot of those guys if you're doing it through that historical lens. J.J. McCarthy this season, last in completion percentage, last in touchdown interception ratio, and last in passer rating. This is obviously during the game. Those numbers have, I believe, completion percentage went up. There were a few more interceptions, and passer rating has obviously went down as well. Vikings fans know this if you were watching the game yesterday. I did not notice this just watching the Vikings game and then all of the other games I was watching. I knew the offense was doing bad in the second half, but I did not know that they had -1 yards of offense in the second half. Absolutely terrible. Like this is like Justin Fields on the Jets type stuff. That's like the type of stat that it is. And how about this? We have Justin Jefferson slowly creeping up the list of wide receivers who are upset at their quarterback in the NFL. He's getting closer to A.J. Brown, guys. Justin Jefferson, 3 straight games with fewer than 70 receiving yards, longest streak of his career. And keep in mind, too, guys, they have had like a lot of stable quarterback stuff in Minnesota. You know, obviously Kirk Cousins was there for a large part of Jefferson's early years. Sam Darnold was there all last year, but they did have that stretch where Kirk Cousins popped his Achilles and they're bringing in Josh Dobbs and they're, trying to fix that quarterback hole with bubble gum and duct tape. And even then, Justin Jefferson was still getting at least 70 yards in some of these games. So that's absolutely astonishing. Then I have a quote here from Justin Jefferson after the game talking about his frustrations with the way that the Vikings are playing right now. Justin Jefferson said it's getting frustrating when they keep saying the same fixes are coming each week, but nothing is different the following week. It's frustrating. It's frustrating to lose. It's frustrating to be up here saying the same things every single week, expecting things to change the following week, and we're still in the same spot. We've just got to figure it out. Things are not positive right now for the Minnesota Vikings. I said I would give you guys a few other stats of J.J. McCarthy, a few other quarterback comps. So J.J. McCarthy is the first player with 9 interceptions and fewer than 9 passing touchdowns in 6 games. The first one since Nathan Peterman. His success rate, which is basically a stat where it's like moving the chains. We're doing that number out of what was it, 852 quarterbacks this century. J.J. McCarthy is 844th on that list, sandwiched between Brandon Weeden and Josh Rosen. His touchdown to interception ratio, 830th, sandwiched between David Carr and Ryan Leaf. Passer rating, 847th. Again, like you watch him, there was a play where he like basically sacked himself, like, trying to drop back when he was under center. He's throwing he threw a screen pass over the running back's head out of bounds. He did that to Justin Jefferson at some point in the game too. It's got to be incredibly frustrating if you're a Vikings fan, if you're a person on that team, not only because you thought, hey, we can hit the ground running if J.J. McCarthy is just passable. This team should be a playoff team again. And, who knows? Instead of signing Sam Darnold, what the Vikings did this offseason is they buffed up the interior of both of their lines. They used the money that they could have played Sam Darnold. They got guys on the defensive line at the defensive tackle position, and they upgraded their guards. And the thing that's got to be so frustrating for everyone in Minnesota right now is that you're right. They keep saying that, hey, we'll get better next week. We'll get better next week. And there's zero progress. There's been zero improvement. Like, things are not going well. And I think we learned this last year when we were going through a lot of stats with Anthony Richardson, and we were ranking where he was on all of these quarterbacks this century lists and all of these advanced stats too, for the Indianapolis Colts. And he was at the bottom of all these lists too when we were going through all these numbers last year. Hey, man, the Vikings are screwed. The Vikings are really screwed with this situation because, and Kevin O'Connell has talked about this in some of his press conferences where he's talking about, hey, it's a lot of mechanics with J.J. McCarthy where when he's throwing the ball, his legs are like too wide, like he's pushing them out too wide, and he needs to have them more inward and more compact, and that's why you're seeing him just be incredibly inconsistent with throwing the ball. And it seems like this is the fact that we keep bringing this issue up every single week. It doesn't look like it's something that's fixable this season. It does not look like it's something that's fixable this season. And then that begs the question too, okay, if it's not fixable this season, then you're going to have to kind of slug it out for these next 6 weeks at the end of the season and go into next season and then pray that J.J. McCarthy is better. Pray that he is better and that he actually does improve on this stuff and he comes back next year a better quarterback. That's an option. But you also have to beg the question, too, if you're the Minnesota Vikings. I think they did all of this stuff and they beefed up the interiors of both of their lines and they didn't bring back Sam Darnold. I think they think this is a Super Bowl roster. I think that's what they thought heading into this year. If J.J. McCarthy is just average, this is a Super Bowl roster. And this isn't something. Let's say they give up on JJ McCarthy. It's not that simple to really just move on from JJ McCarthy and do a Josh Rosen and punt him out of the stadium and just go and get a new guy. Because if you're looking at the quarterbacks in this draft, it's not really that deep of a quarterback draft. The only two guys that are potential franchise guys, which I'm not even that sure if I'm sold on either one of them, is Ty Simpson and Fernando Mendoza. And I think both those guys will probably get taken in the top 5. And the Vikings aren't going to be in a position to draft that high because, you know, the Browns might be wanting somebody. The Raiders might be wanting somebody. The Jets might be wanting somebody. So you're in a really tough spot, especially too, the moves I mentioned that they made this offseason. It's really kind of gotten them in some cap hell, if you want to word it like that. I believe they're like 60 million or something over the cap right now. They have one of the lowest cap spaces in the entire NFL. So it's not as simple as just trading for Kirk Cousins' big contract or trading for Kyler Murray's big contract. Like, you are probably going to have to do a, you know, low contract deal like you did with Darnold the previous year. Now, who could that be? Mac Jones? Kenny Pickett? If we're doing that quarterback revival thing, we're doing that thing where it's like, hey, this guy was once upon a time a top pick, but then he's been a backup for a few years, and it's literally the Darnold playbook over again. And that worked once with Sam Darnold. He's obviously playing very well in Seattle, but the idea that you can strike lightning in a bottle twice in 3 years, I think is very unlikely. So the Minnesota Vikings are in a very, very bad situation. And the thing that's also incredibly frustrating here too, when you're talking about JJ McCarthy, is we brought up all those quarterbacks and where he ranks with all those stats. A lot of quarterbacks on those lists are guys that are in terrible situations, are on rosters that are horrible, are with coaches that are horrible. No wide receivers, no offensive line, no running game. And that's not the Minnesota Vikings. Like Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, maybe you don't want to put them as your like number 1 and number 2 wide receiver duos in the NFL. Whether I'm not making a list right now. I'm just throwing out other duos, whether you want to do the Bengals guys, the Eagles tandem, you know, pick one. I mean, the Rams tandem I think is incredible too with Puka and Devontae Adams. But like, there's no way that the Addison Jefferson duo is not like top 5. It's definitely a top 5 wide receiving duo. You have an offensive head coach. You have a at worst, I think, an above average offensive line in Minnesota. You have good running backs. You've got everything. You got everything. You thought that with the situation JJ McCarthy was running into, that he could hit the ground running, that he could be good right away. And we've seen the exact opposite. This is very scary if you're a Vikings fan. The last thing I will say is, and then we'll head out of here, the only hope that I could think, we talked about the mechanics stuff earlier, him fixing those up, but there is a thing with athletes when you have like, you know, a knee surgery. And, you know, we saw it with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, I believe, what was it, 2023, he tears his ACL. Last year, he was so bad that the Giants cut him. And then it's the year after, and Daniel Jones is going to be taking his team to the playoffs, is going to be hosting a home playoff game, might win a playoff game or 2 with the Indianapolis Colts. So JJ McCarthy next year works on his mechanics in the offseason, another year removed from that knee injury. Maybe you see the leap then. Maybe you see the growth then. But right now, I'm really nervous about it. He's inaccurate. He's inconsistent. The only time the Vikings are successful on offense is early on in the game. Like we said yesterday, -1 net yards in the second half. Things are not going well in Minnesota. Sorry, Vikings fans. Let me know what you guys think. Do the Vikings move off of JJ McCarthy after this year? Do they bench him this year? If they are moving off of him, who are they going to get? Who can they get? Would love to hear your guys' thoughts on all of that stuff. This is going to do it for this episode here today. Like I said, leave a comment, hit like if you haven't done so already, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Would love to help you guys support support the show that way. Subscribing, liking, commenting is the best way that you can push this video out for more people to see it. And it costs you absolutely $0, and it helps support this channel. So thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.